So here we are, Eastbourne Grammar School, King's Drive site, officially opened 1962, became a sixth form college in 1977, so was only really a boys' grammar school for 15 years. You can see the vastness of the school playing fields, which are now home to the Eastbourne Rovers Athletics Club and the synthetic pitches, and even to the left there, the old tennis courts, which are now a bit of a rubbish dump. So as we approach the entrance, let's not forget where we used to have our free school milk, just to the right of the entrance there. And remember, it used to go off, didn't it, during the summer months when the weather was hot. So let's take a look inside. Heading left down the corridor, we have Mike Morley's room 1, where he taught English. On the right, the boys' toilets, and here we find ourselves in Division Room 2, Ronnie Ladbroke's British Constitution and Economics room. So here we are now in the biology lab, home to Gwyn Richards, and when I was at school, one of the naughty boys let some locusts out of the locust cage and they flew all round the school. Bit empty today. Looking straight ahead, you'll see the doors to the woodwork and metalwork labs, but unfortunately out of bounds today. Here we are going upstairs now towards 3 of the science labs and the famous demonstration room. Okay, so here's one of the labs, probably physics or chemistry. So we've got the chemicals on display here and some of the old equipment. These were the physics and chemistry labs. This one looks a bit empty now. And it goes right through, and you're going to see a step back in time now. This one looks like it hasn't really changed that much. You've still got the old school desks there and the old teacher's desk. The only change really is a whiteboard instead of the blackboard. That's Nigel Creasy reminiscing with Dave Lockyer about their times in the science labs. Now this room is the famous demonstration room. This used to be a lecture theatre, and Dickie Owen, who taught Latin in there, would often be covering for other teachers and having his pupils in there as well. Now here is quite a famous scene. Here is the flat roof leading from the labs over to Dizzy Dyer's maths room, room 4. Now, one of the boys when I was there was bullied, I'm afraid. He got pushed out the window here onto the flat roof in the pouring rain, walked his way over to Dizzy Dyer's room, tapped on the window, said, "Can I come in, please, sir?" And Dizzy went, "Go away, laddie." Back downstairs now. Now this corridor leads to what were the changing rooms. Not changing rooms now, they're classrooms. We used to have the showers in here. As you can see, very different today. And further down the corridor, we're going to come into what was the gymnasium. You'll see there it says dance studio. The gym has actually now been cut in 2. But let's have a look inside the gym. You'll see the original parquet flooring there, basketball rings, gym equipment. You can see there the partition wall that's been put in, and it only forms half now. Now these are the famous wall bars still there, which Jock Galloway used to get his pupils to hang from for half an hour at a time. And this was the store cupboard where the basketballs, footballs and gym equipment was stored. Back near the main entrance upstairs to rooms 2, 3 and 4. Here we have room 2, which I believe Dickie Owen used to teach Latin in, and you'll see there was connecting doors to the physics labs which we've just been to. Okay, this is room 3. Now Derek Jones used to teach English in here in my time, but it's been partitioned off now. Into room 4, later to become Bob Wisden's room, and a pupil who shall remain nameless was late for French one day and poked his head through the door and said, "Where's Wizzy?" And Wizzy came out of the cupboard and said, "Here's Wizzy, and Wizzy's going to give you the slipper." Okay, head down the corridor where we used to get changed into plimsolls every morning, now offices, and there's Martin Thomas, ex-head boy, looks more like a headmaster these days. And now another storeroom, which used to be, of course, the prefect's room, and this is where John Bedford used to regularly take naps on a Monday afternoon. Now heading into the hall. All this, of course, is new since we were there. The hall got burnt down by a pupil. Now been split into 2. You'll see Rick Roth there and Matt Snow reminiscing. and the second part of the hall where the stage used to be, where numerous productions were put on. And of course we walked across the stage every Monday morning, cap in one hand, hymn book in the other, and if you heard the dreaded words "Room 2 tonight," you knew you were in trouble. Heading backwards from the hall, down this corridor we'll find Miss Easter's office and of course Rex Shaw's office, the headmaster, with his bin full of canes which he used to use on quite a regular basis. And further down the corridor of course was the staff room where the staff used to relax in their free periods and at lunchtime. Walking down the corridor, now on the left you're going to see what used to be room 6. And if you were unlucky enough to have a lesson in room 6 in the afternoon, it smelt of cabbage because it was the overflow room for the dining hall. Okay, here's room 8, George Dixon's room. George, of course, used to teach geography, geology, and used to talk a lot about his trips to America. And you'll notice in this room is one of the old heaters still on the wall. This is room 7, Mr. Stimpson's room, later Mr. Windross's room, and the double doors leading through to the dining hall. Note the original floor and how small it looks now. Going upstairs now towards Reggie Burton's music room, room 9, and the library on the right. Here's the library. No books today. This is room 10, Mr. Fielden's room, laterally Mr. Groves' room, scripture, French. So now we're heading into what used to be room 9, Reggie Burton's music room. Look at the old heater. Okay, we're now going up to the second floor where we have Walter Tilliard's room, John Harrison's room, and of course the art room. This was Walter Tilliard's room, I believe. And then down the corridor finally to Maurice Roman's art room. Now, Maurice Romans once wrote on my school report, weak, untidy and lazy. I was certainly weak and untidy, but I loved art, was never lazy. Here's the playground, used when the fields were too muddy, and you'll see behind there where the first 15 rugby pitch was. Heading outside now for the annual Flagstaff service, where we remember the grammar school boys who lost their lives in the First and Second World Wars. So there we have it, Eastbourne Grammar School. Only a boys' grammar school for 15 years. Some loved it, some hated it. But none of us turned out too badly, did we?